Hello, welcome to Beyond the Chat, where we introduce you to some of the most interesting and some of the smartest marketers we know. And that would be the guest of our weekly Twitter chat. I am Monina Wagner. I am the community manager at the Content Marketing Institute. If you are not familiar with CMI, our mission is to advance the practice of content marketing. So we do that through our daily blog, we do that through our events, Content Marketing World, and also Content Tech Summit. We do that with our consulting work, and we also, of course, do it with our weekly Twitter chats and live streams like this. Our guest today is someone I met in the Twitterverse, and then we met in real life in Cleveland at Content Marketing World. Bernie Fussenegger is a fantastic marketer. He's an even more wonderful human being. I am so excited to introduce you to Bernie today.
Hello.
Hi, Bernie.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
No, not too bad for
How
Tuesday.
are things? Well, how are things in Kentucky today?
Today it's sunny. As I look outside the window, it looks warm. But other than that, it's good.
Fantastic. Well, why don't we start with B to the 7? Can you tell us a little bit about your company, about the work that you do, and what your clients can expect?
Yeah, so B to the 7 is something started, several years ago as a kind of side gig, if you will. It still is. I work very closely with brands on their digital and social solutions to help engage and target their audiences. So, think a lot of digital consulting programs that they could be running. Today is a great example of, with email marketing. That's something that talk about all the time with those that I'm working with on how they can better use email marketing to be more efficient, to really engage with their consumers. Also, as the side part of that is the social side of, building relationships, how you can use social for listening, for engaging, and really building more brand loyalty, and how those two really go together. So that kind of, fits in with, everything that I've been doing here over the last several years, and really a nice compliment to really what I do full time, and that's work with Papa John.
Well, so we just left. You mentioned an awesome Twitter chat on email marketing, which if you are not subscribed to Bernie's email, you really need to check it out. But when I chat with you online, Bernie, I kind of do a head tilt because I kind of wonder about the Twitter handle. I wonder about your company's name. So can you tell us a little bit about what B to the 7 means and how you came about the name?
Yeah, so it's probably been 5 or so years ago. I used to always use Twitter as a way to get news, follow sports people, celebrities. And I came to a point of, okay, how do I really utilize Twitter and get the most use out of it, be the most efficient? And, I got back in and I started following, I wanted to see who was doing what. So I started following like Madeline Sklar and some of these others that, had chats. So I joined in on one chat and I was like, oh my gosh, this is an eye opener. And you start talking to other professionals, and it's how can you be more consistent with your branding, with your name across all the channels. So I went with B to the 7, which the B is for Bernie. The 7 is I was born on April 7th, so that gives you the 7. And that's where that came from. But to be consistent across all channels, that's one of the things that I picked up immediately once I found chats. And chats, I tell you, changes everything, at least for Twitter for me. When you look at, how can you engage with anywhere from 10 to 100 professionals that are very like-minded, but yet have different opinions and different approaches, and, engage with them 1 hour a week on different topics. You just don't find that in many places to really share, to learn, to grow your community. You just don't find that many places week after week after week after week. And I think that's really, when you think about community building, chats are an excellent way to do that. And then when you can take chats from the actual chat itself to a conference like CM World, for example, and you go there and you feel like you've already known people, you've met them, you understand them, you've already, the code, the code ice, whatever, that's already been put aside. So, you really talk in a different way opposed to, hello, I'm Bernie, you're Mo, okay, that's great. And okay, what do we talk about now? You've already built a relationship with a lot of these people. So that's, when I think of Twitter and chats and the engagement, the relationship building, the community building, there's nothing better than those communities.
And that's kind of how we feel. I love Twitter chats because it can take you not just that specific hour, that specific time frame, but at Content Marketing, Institute, we like taking that hashtag throughout the entire year so that
Yeah.
our attendees, our community can stay connected the entire time. And then it's like a big reunion, right? When we
Yeah,
see each other again, which hopefully we'll get to see each other
I
in
hope
person
so.
soon as well. Well, you brought that up that, we want to introduce you to some of our favorite marketers, but it's kind of something that you already do in a different format. And you mentioned Twitter chat. So can you tell us a little bit about your Twitter chat and why did you decide to start one for yourself?
Yeah, so I initially started and I asked Madeline Scalar, so hers is Twitter Smarter, it's every Thursday, but I probably hounded her for, gosh, a good month of, why do you do it? What are you doing? And I really saw a space for, I needed one around digital marketing. There wasn't a whole lot out there. So I started for about 6 months, 7 months, focused solely on digital marketing. And really at that point, then it started to become very similar to a lot of the other chats. And I'm like, okay, we're on social for a reason. And we have all these connections and you meet all these people, but you really don't know about their career or what they're doing. So I made a small pivot to where with my chat, I decided to have a guest and I wanted the chat to be all about that guest. So really it's like a Twitter podcast, if you will, to where, we have the guest on, we ask about their career, you know, four things that are very pertinent to that individual within, within their community, within their business. Maybe it might be, why did you decide to go solo and take it from working in corporate America to whatnot? What's some of your advice? But really to focus on who that guest is so that we could get to know them better than more than just on the surface. So, they volunteer in a community. Why and what community elements? They have kids, they have family, and learning more about them. So, I mean, if you're going to be on social, let's be social and really engage and know who our connections are. So that's really the premise of my chat now on Fridays is yes, it's still around digital professionals that are in digital social and even other professions because you learn so much. And really it's to learn more about them, advice that they have for others getting started, what is the one thing that has stood out in their career that they're proud of. But it's good to get to know our connections better. And that's really why I continue mine and why I made that pivot from a topic per se to the individuals.
As I was telling others about today's live stream, I was telling them that you are perhaps one of the most generous people I've known because you are generous not only with your time, but you're generous with your knowledge. And, the last few months have been trying, to say the least. It's been a weird time. Um, and we've seen a lot of our counterparts. We know that they're struggling, right? So you're doing something though with Career Barn, which I think is really interesting and really fantastic. So can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so Career Barn really is something I started 20 years ago with no internet, or there was internet, no social, no networking, nothing like that. And it started off as a Louisville-based job search site, and over the years, went up, went down, had kids, and kind of let it fade away. This past December, I was like, okay, I want to bring this back in a digital world with social, with LinkedIn especially. And then, all of a sudden the pandemic hit. And I'm like, okay, how can I use this platform now? How can I use my LinkedIn platform to really begin to help others in their job search? So, I would post jobs that would be relevant, but also, highlighting individuals that are looking for work, posting their resumes, connecting them with people within my network so that, as they're going through this stressful time anyway, to help them with their career with the network that I have and, at least to give back, to give forward, to help in any way possible as people are going through that search. And, you know, experience, knowledge, it does zero good if you're not willing to share it with others. And, that's kind of the approach that I take and the feeling that I have as I try to help the other people that, it does no good to have this platform. It does no good to have X number of followers if you're not truly going to use it in a way that's going to help a good
And
deal of
I
people.
Well, and I find that is one of the reasons why you're a beloved community member. And I kind of feel like that's why the CMRL community thrives the way it does. It's because we can rely on each other, whether
Yeah,
that's relying on each other for a job search or a job opportunity, or if it's relying on each other for advice, relying on each other to just be an ear, to have
yeah.
someone listen to you. So I think it's fantastic that you were able to kind of revive this during this time and to be able to help so many people out.
And it's been fun. And, I get a lot of feedback, but, the part that I enjoy is when I get a message from someone that says, "Hey, thank you. I got connected with somebody else and I've got an interview or whatever." And, for me, that makes me smile because all you have to do is help one person. You don't have to help thousands at a time, but if you help that one person, then, for me, that's all I need.
As it should. Well, beyond the chat, we started it because on the Twitter chat, every week I have 280 characters to be able to introduce our wonderful guests to our audience. So I wanted to be able to take this time. Our chats consist of 7 questions, but today at Beyond the Chat, we're going to ask our final question, which Bernie does not know
Oh,
about.
no.
So this is called question 8. So Bernie, which do you prefer? Is it Derby pie or a Kentucky hot brown?
Oh, wow. You're throwing it out there. Okay, so that's very relevant for Kentucky. So the hot brown was invented here in Kentucky. It's basically bread with turkey, tomatoes, and covered in Monet sauce and baked. So when it comes
It's
out,
delicious.
it looks like a mess, but it is delicious. But Derby pie is also very good. I forgot what's on it, but I know it has pecans. I'm going to have to go with the hot brown.
Oh, a little savory instead of a little sweet, huh?
Yeah, and I don't get the hot brown that much, but it's one of those when you look back. Well, the Derby for Kentucky and Louisville is obviously steeped in tradition. Derby pie that goes with it, so we usually always get that every Derby at a Derby party or whatever. But the hot brown, just I love that food, so going with the hot brown.
Sounds good. We'll have to go out for a hot brown next time I'm in the area.
Well, hopefully it'll be soon because um, you should be close, at least 60 miles down the road. Sometime in the near future.
I know. My daughter will be going out there, so we will be in Kentucky a lot.
It'll be fun. So we will have to connect up.
Well, Bernie, thank you so much for being our guest today. If you missed our Twitter chat with Bernie on email marketing, we will have a recap up on the Content Marketing World blog later this week. Bernie, can you tell us a little bit about where we can find you online?
Yes, the best place is probably Twitter at B to the 7. My website is also b2the7.com. And on LinkedIn, if you do a search for Bernie Fussenegger, I should be the only one. My dad, I think, is on there, but he's 83 and he shouldn't have a whole lot of activity. But if you do a search for my name, I should show up. But those are probably the 2 biggest places that you can find me.
And we'll make sure we'll put them in the show notes so it'll be easy for you to click and find him. Bernie, thank you again for being here with us. It has been a pleasure introducing you to everyone out there in our audience.
And Mo, thank you very much. And it has been a pleasure to not only meet you, but to be part of the CM community, to be at the conferences, and just all the people we've engaged with over the last 2-3 years has been awesome. But I will tell you, back in 2019, when we were actually in Cleveland, meeting everyone in person, not only from this chat, but Erica held them from Content Chat, from Taco Chat, and just seeing everybody in person, and then how those friendships and relationships have evolved since then has been even better. And I just want to thank you for you being you, for the community, and everything that you do for everybody around you.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, with that, that is Beyond. Excited to have, we are so excited to be able to bring this show to you. We will be here every week, immediately following the CM World Twitter chat. We will start about at 1 o'clock on Facebook Live. Until next week, I am Monina Wagner. Be well. Take care of each other. Bye. Thank you.